Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome everybody to Matchless Gifts and another episode of Bhagavatam Bites. Today is the auspicious occasion of Ekadasi, and it's not just Ekadasi, it's Moksha Ekadasi. And Moksha Ekadasi means Gita Jayanti Day. So today is the day that the Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. And we're here at the most sacred and holy of places, definitely in the Western atmosphere, if not the entire world. And this is where Srila Prabhupada came and planted that seed of the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, some of the earliest lectures were, or talks that you can find recordings of, is him reciting the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, which is very wonderful. So anyway, we're going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 40.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 40. The ocean of Nishyans is very difficult to cross because it is infested with many dangerous sharks. Although those who are non-devotees undergo severe austerities and penances to cross that ocean, we recommend that you simply take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are like boats for crossing the ocean. Although the ocean is difficult to cross, by taking shelter of his lotus feet, you will overcome all dangers. Awesome. Material existence is compared herein to the great ocean of Nishyans. Another name of this ocean is Vaitarani. In the Vaitarani ocean, which is the causal ocean, there are innumerable universes floating like footballs. On the other side of the ocean is the spiritual world of Vaikuntha, which is described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 20, as Parastasmatu Bhavo Anya. Thus, there is an ever-existing spiritual nature which is beyond this material nature. Even though all the material universes are annihilated again and again in the causal ocean, the Vaikuntha planets, which are spiritual, exist eternally and are not subject to dissolution. The human form of life gives the living entity a chance to cross the ocean of Nishyans, which is this material universe, and enter into the spiritual sky. Although there are many methods or boats by which one can cross the ocean, the Kumaras recommend that the king take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, just as one would take shelter of a good boat. Non-devotees who do not take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet try to cross the ocean of Nishyans by other methods, karma, jnana, and yoga. But they have a great deal of trouble. Indeed, sometimes they become so busy simply enjoying their troubles that they never cross the ocean. There is no guarantee that the non-devotees will cross the ocean, but even though they manage to cross, they have to undergo severe austerities and penances. On the other hand, anyone who takes to the process of devotional service and has faith that the lotus feet of the Lord are safe boats to cross, that ocean is certain
To cross that ocean.
To cross that ocean is certain to cross very easily and comfortably. So it's interesting that in terms of what you said, that today is Gita Jayanti. And we're in Matchless Gifts, and Prabhupada came here first and foremost, 26 2nd Avenue, and started preaching the Bhagavad Gita. And in terms of what we're learning here, that there are ways to cross this material ocean of like this ignorance, this life of misery. There is a way to transcend it. There is a way to get to the other side, as it were. But as Prabhupada says, it's troublesome. It's a troublesome way. And the easy way, almost you could say like a speedboat, is Krishna's lotus feet, especially in this day and age, where it's very easy to get distracted by the party boat and the carnival boat and this one and that one, you know. Oh, what's going on? Oh, just take the speedboat and get out of here. But it's so interesting that to read this here and now in this place and on this day, because if it wasn't for Prabhupada tolerating what he did, I'm sorry, there was a serious amount of tolerance, as much as it's glossed over in terms of the personalities, and just having to teach right from the beginning what is cleanliness, how do you serve this acharya, you know, how do we behave, how do we dance, how do women do, how do men do this. And if he didn't do all that here and teach us basically how to cross over this misery, you know, like where would we be? It's because he came to this place first and foremost. Many other places he went, but here, and taught this message of the Bhagavad Gita. That's what he did, you know. You are not your body, the three most material nature, you know, karma, reincarnation, all these what we see are basic things, as it were. But yeah, so it's quite special actually to be here. What? Nearly 60 years on, it's here reading this purport actually.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Thank you for bringing that up, the point of tolerance and how much he had to tolerate. There was no one or nothing here for him, and he just tolerated everything and just kept trying to make things happen. And also, he was setting the example really of taking shelter. I mean, you could say in one sense, he was living in, you know, in the Radha Damodar and Sevakunj and Vrindavan. He was already across the ocean. Yeah. And there was no real need for him. He kind of got in a boat, literally got on a boat and went back across the Vaitarani ocean into the dismal darkness of material energy, right into the thick of New York City in the 60s, and, tried to sell tickets for the boat to cross back, kind of thing. Yeah, not even sell, he was giving them away. Giving them away. Nobody wanted. Next paragraph. Prithu Maharaj is therefore advised to take the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord to easily cross over all dangers. Dangerous elements in the universe are compared to sharks in the ocean. Even though one may be a very expert swimmer, he cannot possibly survive if he is attacked by sharks. One often sees many so-called swamis and yogis sometimes advertise themselves as competent to cross the ocean of nescience and to help others cross. But in actuality, they are found to be simply victims of their own senses. Instead of helping their followers to cross the ocean of nescience, such swamis and yogis fall prey to Maya, represented by the fair sex, women, and are thus devoured by the sharks in that ocean. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so we see that was the case back then when Prabhupada was discussing, and remains the case now. And it's not just, I guess you could say the fair sex, although for those because Prabhupada specifically mentions swamis and yogis, and they become allured by the material energy, and and it can pull, the material energy's role is to cover us over and pull us down, like that. So that's the power of the material energy, and instead of taking shelter of the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, then we wind up finding shelter in something else. Something you said, and just on that context of the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, there's another verse, and I believe it's I thought it was in the third chapter, it might, third canto, at the end, the conversation with Kapila Dev and Devahuti, that again this analogy is given of the boat crossing the material ocean of nescience, it's there in the 10th canto where it mentions that the ocean, when you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, the ocean becomes like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. So in one sense, you don't even need to get the boat because you just step right over it. That's a powerful visual when you've got this picture of the immensive expanse of the Karana ocean, full of, sharks. And instead of trying to cross it in a dangerous way, then you just literally step right over it like it's a little fishbowl, something like that. Okay. See what's... Okay, we can read one more, huh?
Text 41. The great sage Maitreya continued, being thus enlightened in complete spiritual knowledge by the son of Brahma, one of the Kumaras who was complete in spiritual knowledge, the king worshipped them in the following words. Purport. In this verse, the word Atma Medasa is commented upon by Sripad Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says that Atmani means unto Lord Krishna, Paramatmani. Lord Krishna is Paramatma, Ishvara Parama Krishna, and this Brahma Samhita. Therefore, one whose mind is actually fully in Krishna consciousness, is acting fully in Krishna consciousness, is called Atma Meda. This may be contrasted to the word Grihamedi, which refers to one whose brain is always engrossed with thoughts of material activities. The Atma Meda is always thinking of Krishna's activities in Krishna consciousness. Since Sanat Kumara, who was a son of Lord Brahma, was fully Krishna conscious, he could point out the path of spiritual advancement. The word Atmagati refers to that path of activities by which one can make progress in understanding Krishna. Interesting. I'm just looking at it again. Hold on. Okay. And so... Okay, it wasn't anything
self-explanatory.
Majorly standing out. That's why I had to look at it again. Except to say that Sanat Kumara has come to the end of his talking. Oh. No, because I was just thinking this Pretty Maharaj pastime, and it takes up a lot of... It's not takes up, but it's represented.
Sounds like that's what you're trying to say.
It's represented.
When is it ever going to end?
It's eternal. So I was just there, okay, so he stopped talking. So now, as it is in the Bhagavatam, is the etiquette. So one person has given the instructions and then the other person either inquires or, as it looks like here, he's going to glorify and appreciate, which then may, go into something. Anyways, it's going to happen. Okay, that's all I've got to say.
God knows what you just said. If anyone understood that, you can put it in the comments, translate it for us.
Anyway, so Nat Kumar has finished talking.
An important point that was made and not picked up upon by my amazing wife is this distinction between an Atmamedaha and a Grihamedi. So a Grihamedaha. So we often hear that term, there's a Grihasta and a Grihamedi. So a Grihasta is someone who creates their home, their griha, as an ashram, a place of shelter. And a Grihamedi is someone whose house or home is created as a place for sense enjoyment. So that, juxtaposition is created between those two. Here, Srila Prabhupada says, and he quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who basically says, Atmani means unto Lord Krishna. So Atmamedaha means unto Lord Krishna. Then he puts in the Paramatmani, is Lord Krishna is Paramatma. And then Ishvara Parama Krishna. So somehow he takes that word, because this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, basically, he can do whatever he likes, but he takes that Atmani, Paramatmani, and then Ishvara, Parama Krishna, and he brings it all together and just says that basically Atma Medaha means one who is focused on Krishna, whereas a Griha Medi is one who's focused on sense gratification. So I guess we have to take a little test ourselves and see, where am I situated? What is my situation? And if it's like, well, I try to think of Krishna, but sometimes in sense gratification, or mostly I'm in sense gratification, every now and again I think about Krishna, or I'm completely absorbed in sense gratification. It's like that. We can figure out, and how can we move the scale a little bit more closer to being absorbed in Krishna on a daily or weekly or monthly basis, I think, something like that. Okay. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to finish here. We're going to conclude now. Thank you all for tuning in again. Have a beautiful Gita Jayanti day. And may the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita as given in the Parampara from Srila Prabhupada, may it penetrate your heart, and may it always resound and resonate within your heart and within your mind. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.